This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, visit LibriVox.org. How to Cook Fish by Olive Green. Section 1. The Catching of Unshelled Fish. First, catch your hare, the old cookery books used to say, and hence it is proper, in a treatise devoted entirely to the cooking of unshelled fish, to pay passing attention to the catching, or what the head of the house terms the masculine division of the subject. As it is evident that the catching must, in every case, precede the cooking, but not too far, the preface is the place to begin. Shellfish are, comparatively, slow of movement, without guile, pitifully trusting, and very easily caught. Observe the difference between the chunk of mutton and 4 feet of string with which one goes crabbing, and the complicated hooks, rods, flies, and reels devoted to the capture of unshelled fish. An unshelled fish is lively and elusive, past the power of words to portray, and in this undoubtedly lies its desirability. People will travel for 2 nights and a day to some spot where unshelled fish had once been seen, taking $59.99 worth of fishing tackle, marked down from $60 for today only, rent a canoe, hire a guide at more than human life is worth in courts of law, and work with dogged patience from gray dawn till sunset. And for what? For one small bass, which could have been bought at any trustworthy market for 65 cents, or possibly some poor little kitten-fish offspring of a catfish, whose mother's milk is not yet dry upon its lips. Other fish who have just been weaned and are beginning to notice solid food will repeatedly take a hook too large to swallow, and be dragged into the boat, literally, by the skin of the teeth. Note the cheerful little sunfish, 4 inches long, which is caught first on one side of the boat, and then on the other, by the patient fisherman angling off a rocky, weedy point for bass. But, as Grover Cleveland said, he is no fisherman who is willing to fish only when fish are biting. The real angler will sit all day in a boat in a pouring rain, eagerly watching the point of the rod, which never for an instant swerves a half inch from the horizontal. The real angler will troll for miles with a hand line and a spinner, winding in the 35 dripping feet of the lure every 10 minutes to remove a weed, or to see if she's still a-spinnin'. Vainly he hopes for the muskellunge who has just gone somewhere else. But, by the same token, the sure-enough angler is ready to go out the next morning, rain or shine, at sunrise. It is a habit of unshelled fish to be in other places, or possibly at your place, but at another time. The guide can never understand what is wrong. 5 days ago he himself caught more bass than he could carry home at that identical rocky point. A man from La Porte, Indiana, whom he took out the week before, landed a 38-pound muskie in trolling through that same narrow channel. In the 40 years that the guide has lived in the place, man and boy, he has never known the fishin' to be as poor as it is now. Why, even old Pop Summers has ceased to fish. But the real angler continues, regardless of the local sage. He who has heard the line sing suddenly out of his reel, and after a hard-fought hour scooped a 6-pound black bass into his landing net, and weary, but still game, is not dismayed by bad luck. He who can cast a fly 100 feet or more finds pleasure in that, if not in fishing. Whoever has taken in a muskellunge of any size will ever after troll patiently, even through masses of weed. Whoever has leaned over the side of a sailboat, peering down into the green crystalline waters of the Gulf, and seen, 20 feet down, the shimmering sides of a 15-pound red grouper, firmly hooked and coming, will never turn over sleepily for a last nap, when his door is almost broken in at 5 a.m. And, fish or no fish, there are compensations. Into a day of heart-breaking and soul-sickening toil, when all the world goes wrong, must sometimes come the vision of a wooded shore, with tiny dark wavelets singing softly on the rocks, and a robin piping cheerily on the topmost bough of a maple. Tired eyes look past the musty ledger and the letter files to a tiny sapphire lake, set in hills, with the late afternoon light streaming in glory from the far mountains beyond. It may be cold up north, but down in the Gulf they are fishing, scudding among the Florida Keys in a little white sailboat, landing for lunch on a strand as snowy as the northern streets, where the shimmering distances of white sand are paved with shell and pearl, and the tide thrums out its old song under the palms. And fish? 250 pounds is the average day's catch for a small sailboat cruising among the Florida Keys. Yet, when all is said and done, the catching of fish is a matter of luck, a gambler's chance, if you will have it so. The cooking, in unskilled hands, is also a lottery, but by following the appended recipes becomes an art to which scientific principles have been faithfully applied. Having caught your fish, you may cook him 1,000 ways, but it is doubtful whether, even with the finest sauce, a pompano will taste half as good as the infantile muskellunge, several pounds under the legal weight, fried unskilfully in pork fat by a horny-handed woodsman, kneeling before an open fire, 18 minutes after you have given up all hope of having fish for dinner, and had resigned yourself to the dubious prospect of salt pork, eggs, and coffee, which any self-respecting coffee mill would fail to recognize. All of which is respectfully submitted by O.G. End of Section 1, read by Dennis Sayers in Modesto, California for LibriVox, Summer 2006. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, visit LibriVox.org. How to Cook Fish by Olive Green. Section 2. Fish in season. Bass, all the year. Blackfish, April 1st to November 1st. Bluefish, May 1st to November 1st. Butterfish, October 1st to May 1st. Carp, July 15th to November 1st. Codfish, all the year. Eels, all the year. Flounder, all the year. Haddock, all the year. Halibut, all the year. Herring, October 1st to May 1st. Kingfish, May 1st to November 1st. Mackerel, April 1st to October 1st. Mullet, June 1st to November 1st. Perch, September 1st to June 1st. Pickerel, June 1st to January 1st. Pike, June 1st to January 1st. Pompano, May 1st to August 1st, and November 15th to January 1st. Red snapper. October 1st to April 1st. Salmon all the year. Salmon trout, October 1st to April 1st. Shad, January 1st to June 1st. Sheep's head, June 15th to November 15th. Skate, September 1st to July 1st. Smelts, August 15th to April 15th. Sole, November 1st to May 1st. Sturgeon, June 1st to October 15th. Trout, April 1st to September 1st. Turbot, January 1st to July 15th. Weak fish, May 15th to October 15th. Whitebait, May 1st to April 1st. Whitefish, November 1st to March 1st. Salt, smoked, and canned fish are never out of season. End of section 2. Read by Dennis Sayers in Modesto, California for LibriVox. Fall 2006. Section 3 of How to Cook Fish. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, visit LibriVox.org. How to Cook Fish by Olive Green. Section 3. 11-quart bouillons. 1. Put into the bottom of the fish kettle a thick layer of sliced carrots and onion, and a sliced lemon. Season with parsley, thyme, a bay leaf, half a dozen whole peppers, and 3 or 4 whole cloves. Lay the fish on top of this, and cover with equal parts of cold water and white wine, or with water and a little lemon juice or vinegar. Put the kettle over the fire and let it heat slowly. The fish must always be put into it while cold, and after boiling, allowed to cool in the water. 2. Cut fine a stalk of celery, a carrot, an onion, and a small sweet pepper. Fry in butter and add 8 cupfuls of water, 1 cupful of vinegar, and the trimmings of fish. Season with salt and pepper. Add half a bay leaf, 4 cloves, and 2 sprigs of parsley. Boil for 10 minutes and let cool thoroughly before cooking the fish in it. 3. 1 pint of water, 1 quart of white wine, 1 tablespoonful of butter, a bunch of parsley, 4 young onions, a clove of garlic, a bunch of thyme, a bay leaf, a carrot, and a blade of mace. Bring to the boil and let cool thoroughly before cooking the fish in it. 4. Fry a large onion in 2 tablespoonfuls of butter. Add half a can of tomatoes, salt, pepper, allspice, and minced parsley to season, and half a cupful of tomato ketchup. Add also 1 cupful of sliced carrot and sufficient water to cover the fish. 5. 1 onion, 2 bay leaves, 4 whole cloves, a stalk of celery, 2 sprigs of parsley, and 3 quarts of cold water. Add any trimmings of fish at hand. Simmer for 2 hours. Season with salt and pepper, and strain. Cool before using. 6. Chop fine 1 onion, 1 stalk of celery, and 2 or 3 sprigs of parsley. Fry in butter. Add 2 tablespoonfuls of salt, 6 peppercorns, a bay leaf, 3 cloves, 2 quarts of boiling water, and 2 cupfuls of vinegar or sour wine. Boil for 15 minutes. Strain and cool. Rub the fish with salt and lemon juice before cooking. 7. Chop fine a large onion and a carrot. Add 3 bay leaves, a few sprigs of parsley, a pinch of powdered thyme, and 3 tablespoonfuls of tarragon vinegar. Add enough water to cover the fish. The vinegar may be omitted and equal parts of water and white wine used for liquid. 8. Chop fine a quarter of a pound of bacon and an onion. Fry, add a can of tomatoes, a chopped clove of garlic, and cayenne, salt and pepper to season. Add sufficient boiling water and cook for 15 minutes. Cool before putting in the fish. 9. Half a carrot, half an onion, 2 cloves, 3 sprigs of parsley, 3 peppercorns, 2 tablespoonfuls of lemon juice or vinegar, a teaspoonful of salt, a blade of mace, half a bay leaf, half a teaspoonful of paprika, a dash of celery salt, and 2 quarts of cold water. Bring to the boil and cool before using. 10. Fry an onion in butter. Add half a teaspoonful of beef extract, a pinch of celery seed, a few drops of Worcestershire, a tablespoonful of tomato ketchup, half a cupful of vinegar, and salt and pepper to season. Add 2 quarts of cold water. Bring to the boil and cool before using. 11. 4 quarts of water, 1 onion, 1 slice of carrot, 2 tablespoonfuls of salt, 1 tablespoonful of pepper, 2 cloves, 1 tablespoonful of vinegar, the juice of half a lemon, and a bouquet of sweet herbs. Boil for an hour before putting in the fish. End of section 3. Read by Dennis Sayers in Modesto, California for LibriVox, Spring 2007.
All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Carol Good. www.soundsgood.com. How to Cook Fish by Olive Green. Section 4. 100 Simple Fish Sauces. Admiral Sauce. Add 2 pounded anchovies, 4 chopped shallots, a teaspoonful of chopped capers, and a little grated lemon peel to 1 cupful of drawn butter sauce. Reheat, season with salt and pepper and lemon juice. Serve hot. Albert Sauce. Boil 3 chopped shallots with a tablespoonful of butter and 1/4 cupful of vinegar. Add 1 cupful of freshly grated horseradish, half a cupful of white stock, and 1 cupful of veloute sauce. Boil until thick. Rub through a sieve. Reheat. Add the yolks of 3 eggs beaten with a cupful of cream, 2 tablespoonfuls of butter in small bits, and a little minced parsley. Allemande Sauce 1. Pour 2 cupfuls of white stock into a saucepan with half a dozen mushrooms chopped fine, a 2-inch strip of lemon peel, salt and pepper to season, and a teaspoonful of minced parsley. Simmer for an hour and strain. Thicken with a teaspoonful of flour rubbed smooth in a little cold stock or water. Take from the fire and add the yolks of 3 eggs beaten with the juice of half a lemon. Reheat but do not boil. Take from the fire and add a tablespoonful of butter. Allemande Sauce 2. Cook together 2 tablespoonfuls of butter and 3 of flour. Add 2 cupfuls of white stock and cook until thick, stirring constantly. Beat the yolks of 3 eggs and add the sauce gradually to the eggs, beating constantly. Strain, add the juice of half a lemon and a tablespoonful of butter. Serve hot. Anchovy butter. Soak, bone, dry, and pound 8 salted anchovies. Add twice their bulk of fresh butter. Mix thoroughly. Press forcibly through a fine sieve. Add a little more butter and the juice of a lemon. Make into small pats and keep in a cold place. Anchovy butter sauce. Prepare a pint of brown sauce according to directions elsewhere given, and season with melted butter, lemon juice, and anchovy essence. Anchovy sauce 1. Stir 2 tablespoonfuls of anchovy essence into 1 cupful of melted butter. Season with cayenne and powdered mace. Anchovy sauce 2. Pound 3 anchovies smooth with 3 tablespoonfuls of butter. Add 2 teaspoonfuls of vinegar and 1/4 cupful of water. Bring to the boil and thicken with a tablespoonful of flour rubbed smooth in a little cold water. Strain through a sieve and serve hot. Anchovy sauce 3. Add a tablespoonful of anchovy paste to a cupful of drawn butter sauce and season with lemon juice and paprika. Aurora sauce. Add 1/2 cupful of mushroom liquor to 1 cupful of bechamel sauce. Add also 3 tablespoonfuls of stewed and strained tomatoes and 1 tablespoonful of butter. Reheat, add a few cooked mushrooms cut into dice, and serve. Avignonnaise sauce. Chop together 4 shallots and 2 beans of garlic. Fry in olive oil. Add 2 cupfuls of bechamel sauce. Bring to the boil. Add the yolks of 3 eggs, 2 tablespoonfuls of grated Parmesan cheese, and a little minced parsley. Heat but do not boil, and use as soon as it thickens. Béarnaise sauce 1. Bring to the boil 2 tablespoonfuls each of vinegar and water. Simmer in it for 10 minutes a slice of onion. Take out the onion and add the yolks of 3 eggs beaten very light. Take from the fire, add salt and pepper to season, and 4 tablespoonfuls of butter beaten to a cream. The butter should be added in small bits. Béarnaise sauce 2. Beat the yolks of 5 eggs. Add a pinch of salt and 1 tablespoonful of butter. Heat in a double boiler until it begins to thicken. Then take from the fire and add 2 more tablespoonfuls of butter. Season with minced fine herbs and parsley and add a teaspoonful of tarragon vinegar. Béarnaise sauce 3. Beat the yolks of 2 eggs very light and put into a double boiler. Add gradually 3 tablespoonfuls of olive oil, then the same quantity of boiling water, then 1 tablespoonful of lemon juice. Season with salt and cayenne and serve immediately. Quick béarnaise sauce. Beat the yolks of 4 eggs with 4 tablespoonfuls of oil and 4 of water. Add a cupful of boiling water and cook slowly until thick and smooth. Take from the fire and add minced onion, capers, olives, pickles, and parsley, and a little tarragon vinegar. Bechamel sauce. Cook together 2 tablespoonfuls each of butter and flour. Add 2 cupfuls of white stock and cook until thick, stirring constantly. Season with salt, pepper, and grated nutmeg. Bombay sauce. Season drawn butter sauce highly with chopped pickle, curry powder, and tarragon vinegar. Bordelaise sauce. Fry in butter a tablespoonful of chopped shallots and 2 minced beans of garlic. Add half a cupful of claret, a pinch of red pepper, and a pint of espagnole sauce. Boil until thick. Take from the fire and add lemon juice and minced parsley to season. Add also 1/4 pound of beef marrow cut into small pieces and parboiled in salted water. Serve at once. White Bordelaise sauce. Fry a tablespoonful of chopped onions in butter. Add a wineglassful of white wine and a cupful of veloute sauce. Season to taste. Boil for 5 minutes. Take from the fire. Add 1 tablespoonful each of minced parsley, lemon juice, and butter. Brown sauce 1. Brown 2 tablespoonfuls of flour in butter. Add 2 cupfuls of milk or cream and cook until thick, stirring constantly. Brown sauce 2. Fry in pork fat 2 slices of onion, a slice of carrot, a bay leaf, and a sprig of parsley. Add a heaping teaspoonful of flour and, when brown, a cupful of stock. Cook until thick, stirring constantly. Take from the fire, strain, add the juice of half a lemon, and salt and pepper to taste. Brown butter sauce. Melt butter in a frying pan and cook until brown, taking care not to burn. Take from the fire and add lemon juice or vinegar and salt and pepper to taste. Serve hot. Butter sauce. Mix chopped hard-boiled eggs with a liberal amount of melted butter. Season with salt, pepper, and minced parsley. Caper sauce 1. Add half a cupful of capers to 2 cupfuls of drawn butter sauce. Caper sauce 2. Prepare a pint of drawn butter sauce and add it to 2 tablespoonfuls of capers, a tablespoonful of anchovy essence, and salt and pepper to taste. Claret sauce. Reheat 1 cupful of brown sauce. Season with grated onion and half a cupful of claret. Bring to the boil and serve. Colbert sauce. Put into a saucepan 1 cupful of espagnole sauce, 2 tablespoonfuls of beef extract, the juice of a lemon, red and white pepper, and minced parsley to season, and half a cupful of butter in small bits. Heat, but do not boil, and serve at once. Cream sauce. Cook together 1 tablespoonful of butter and 2 of flour. Add 2 cupfuls of cream or milk and cook until thick, stirring constantly. Season with salt and pepper. Cucumber sauce 1. Chop 2 cucumbers, drain, and add 1 tablespoonful of grated onion and half of a minced bean of garlic. Season with salt, pepper, and vinegar and add enough olive oil to make a smooth paste. Serve immediately. Cucumber sauce 2. Grate 4 large cucumbers and drain. Season the pulp with salt, pepper, grated onion, and tarragon vinegar. Add enough whipped cream to make a smooth mixture and serve at once. Cucumber sauce 3. Chop a cucumber finely, season with salt, pepper, and vinegar, and add it to hollandaise sauce. Curry sauce. Fry a tablespoonful of chopped onion in butter and add a tablespoonful of flour mixed with a teaspoonful of curry powder. Mix thoroughly, add 1 cupful of cold water, and cook until thick, stirring constantly. Take from the fire, season with salt and onion juice, and serve hot. Drawn butter sauce. Cook to a smooth paste 2 tablespoonfuls of butter and 2 of flour. Add 2 cupfuls of cold water and cook until thick, stirring constantly. Season with salt and pepper. Dutch sauce. Cook together 2 tablespoonfuls each of butter and flour. Add 1 cupful of white stock and cook until thick, stirring constantly. Season with salt and pepper. Take from the fire and add the yolks of 3 eggs beaten with half a cupful of cream. Cook in a double boiler for 3 minutes. Take from the fire, add a tablespoonful of lemon juice, and strain. Duxelles sauce 1. Cook in butter 1 cupful of chopped mushrooms and 1 tablespoonful each of minced onion and parsley. Add to 1 pint of Spanish sauce and serve. Duxelles sauce 2. Prepare a pint of veloute sauce. Add a wineglassful of white wine and 2 tablespoonfuls of beef extract. Boil for 5 minutes. Add 2 tablespoonfuls each of chopped mushrooms and cooked beef tongue or ham. Add a little minced parsley. Reheat and serve. Egg sauce 1. Add 1/2 cupful of sliced or chopped hard-boiled eggs to 2 cupfuls of drawn butter sauce. Egg sauce 2. Prepare a cream sauce according to directions previously given, and add the yolks of 2 raw eggs, a tablespoonful of grated onion, a hard-boiled egg chopped fine, and a teaspoonful of minced parsley. Espagnole sauce. Add a small bay leaf, a blade of mace, and 2 cloves to 2 cupfuls of white stock. Simmer for 15 minutes. Cook together 2 tablespoonfuls of butter and 3 of flour. Add the heated stock and cook until thick, stirring constantly. Add 1 tablespoonful each of chopped ham, onion, celery, carrot, and parsley, with salt and paprika to season. Simmer for an hour, strain, and serve very hot. Fine herb sauce 1. Fry in butter 1 tablespoonful each of minced parsley and onion. Add to 1 pint of white sauce and reheat. Season with salt and pepper and serve. Fine herb sauce 2. Prepare according to directions given for brown Italian sauce, using butter instead of oil, and 1/2 cupful of minced parsley instead of the thyme and bay leaf. Season with grated nutmeg and add to either Spanish or veloute sauce. Flemish sauce. Prepare a cupful of drawn butter sauce. Take from the fire, add the yolks of 2 eggs well beaten, and pepper, grated nutmeg, made mustard, vinegar, and minced parsley to season. Add gradually 1/2 cup of melted butter and serve. Garlic sauce. Peel the garlic and boil for an hour, changing the water 4 times. Drain, chop, and mix to a smooth paste with melted butter. The flavor is mild and resembles almond. Sauce à la Gasconne. Chop together a tablespoonful of capers and a bean of garlic. Fry in olive oil, seasoning with pepper and grated nutmeg. Add a wineglassful of white wine, a cupful of veloute sauce, a bay leaf, and a sprig of thyme. Boil for 15 minutes. Skim, add another wineglassful of white wine. Strain and add the yolks of 3 eggs well beaten. Season with lemon juice, butter, anchovy essence, and minced parsley. Geneva sauce. Brown 1 tablespoonful of flour in butter. Add 2 cupfuls of thick stock and 1 cupful of red wine and cook until thick, stirring constantly. Add 2 small onions chopped, a bunch of sweet herbs, 2 tablespoonfuls of chopped mushrooms, and salt and pepper to season. Simmer for half an hour. Add a wineglassful of Madeira, strain, and serve. Gooseberry sauce. Boil a pint of green gooseberries for 10 minutes in water to cover. Drain, press through a sieve, and mix with an equal quantity of white sauce. Hessian sauce. Mix 4 tablespoonfuls of freshly grated horseradish with an equal quantity of fresh breadcrumbs, a tablespoonful of sugar, and a little salt and pepper. Mix to a smooth paste with sour cream and serve with baked fish. Hollandaise sauce 1. Beat 1/2 cupful of butter to a cream and add gradually the yolks of 2 eggs well beaten. Then add the juice of 1/2 lemon and pepper and salt to season. Place the bowl over boiling water and beat with an egg beater until thick and smooth. Take from the fire and beat for a few moments. Be careful not to cook it too long. Hollandaise sauce 2. Put a bay leaf and a chopped onion in 2 tablespoonfuls of tarragon vinegar. Bring to the boiling point, strain, and cool. Cook together 2 tablespoonfuls of butter and 1 of flour. Add a 1/2 cupful of cold water and cook until thick, stirring constantly. Take from the fire and add the yolks of 2 eggs beaten with the vinegar. Reheat for a moment, seasoning with salt and pepper. Strain and serve immediately. Lemon juice may be used in place of the vinegar. Horseradish sauce 1. Add 1/2 cupful of freshly grated horseradish to a cupful of drawn butter sauce. Season with lemon juice and beat until smooth. Horseradish sauce 2. Prepare a cream sauce according to directions previously given, and add 3 tablespoonfuls of freshly grated horseradish and 1/2 cupful of melted butter. Serve with boiled fish. Horseradish sauce 3. To 1 cupful of Spanish sauce, add 2 tablespoonfuls of prepared horseradish, 2 tablespoonfuls of breadcrumbs, a teaspoonful of powdered sugar, and salt, pepper, and made mustard to season. Heat in a double boiler, and just before serving, add 1/2 cupful of whipped or cold cream, cow cream, not cosmetic. Italian sauce. Fry in butter 2 tablespoonfuls of minced parsley and 1 tablespoonful of chopped mushrooms and shallots. Add 2 cupfuls of white wine and boil until reduced half. Add 1 cupful of velouté sauce and 1/2 cupful of stock. Boil until thick, skim, and serve. Brown Italian sauce. Fry in olive oil 1/2 cupful of chopped mushrooms, 4 chopped shallots, a sprig of thyme, and a bay leaf. Add 1/2 cupful of white wine and simmer until the liquid is reduced half. Take out the thyme and bay leaf, add a cupful of Spanish sauce, skim, boil, and serve. Japanese sauce. Chop fine a shallot and 2 cloves of garlic. Add 2 tablespoonfuls each of walnut catsup, soy, and Worcestershire sauce. Season highly with paprika. Add 2 cupfuls of tarragon vinegar and let stand for 2 weeks. Strain and serve with fish. Jersey sauce. Brown 4 tablespoonfuls of flour in butter. Add 2 cupfuls of brown stock and cook until thick, stirring constantly. Season with salt, pepper, and Worcestershire. Lemon sauce 1. Melt 1/2 cupful of butter and add it to the juice of a large lemon. When very hot, take from the fire and pour over the well-beaten yolks of 2 eggs. Lemon sauce 2. Prepare a pint of drawn butter sauce according to directions previously given. Season with salt, pepper, grated nutmeg, and lemon juice, and add 1/2 cupful of melted butter. Livornaise sauce. Soak, bone, and pound to a pulp 8 salted anchovies. Add the yolks of 2 eggs well beaten. Add slowly 1/2 cupful of olive oil and 2 tablespoonfuls of vinegar. Season with pepper, grated nutmeg, and minced parsley. Serve very cold. Lobster sauce 1. Add 1/2 cupful of chopped cooked lobster meat and the pounded coral to each cupful of drawn butter sauce. Season with paprika, butter, and lemon juice. Lobster sauce 2. Prepare a hollandaise sauce and mix with finely cut cooked lobster meat. Season with melted butter, lemon juice, Tabasco, and Worcestershire. Maître d'hôtel sauce. Work into 1/2 cupful of butter all the lemon juice it will take and add a teaspoonful or more of minced parsley. Or melt the butter without burning, take from the fire, add the juice of 1/2 lemon and a teaspoonful of minced parsley. Mayonnaise. Put into an earthen bowl the yolk of a fresh egg and a pinch of salt, a dash of red pepper, and 1/2 teaspoonful of dry mustard. Place the bowl on ice or in ice water. Pour 1 cupful of olive oil into a small pitcher from which it will drop easily. When the egg and seasoning are thoroughly mixed, begin to add the oil, using a silver teaspoon, and rubbing rather than stirring. Add the oil until a clear spot is formed upon the egg, and then mix until smooth. Only a few drops can be added at first, but the quantity may be gradually increased. The clear spot on the egg is an infallible test of the right quantity of oil. If too much oil is added, the dressing will curdle. A few drops of lemon juice and a long beating will usually make it right again. If this fails, set the bowl directly on the ice in the refrigerator and let stand for ½ an hour. If it is still curdled, begin again with the yolk of another egg and add the curdled mayonnaise by degrees to the new dressing. When the mayonnaise is so thick that it is difficult to stir, add the juice of 1/2 a lemon if desired. Milanese sauce. Melt 2 tablespoonfuls of butter. Add 2 chopped mushrooms and 2 boned and pounded anchovies. Add 2 tablespoonfuls of flour and cook until the flour is brown. Add 1 cupful of brown stock and 1 tablespoonful each of sherry and vinegar drained from capers. Cook until thick, stirring constantly, seasoning with salt, cayenne, and made mustard. Simmer for 20 minutes, strain, add 1 tablespoonful of capers, boil for 5 minutes, and serve. Mushroom sauce. Prepare a drawn butter sauce according to directions previously given, and add to it 1 cupful of chopped, cooked mushrooms. Niçoise sauce. Rub through a fine sieve the yolks of 3 hard-boiled eggs. Put into a deep bowl with 2 raw yolks, a tablespoonful of made mustard, and salt and pepper to season. Add gradually half a cupful of olive oil and a little vinegar, finishing with 2 tablespoonfuls of minced fine herbs. Nonpareil sauce. Add chopped hard-boiled eggs and chopped cooked mushrooms to hollandaise sauce. Normandy sauce. Add 1 tablespoonful of mushroom catsup to 1 pint of velouté sauce and cook for 10 minutes. Add 1/4 cupful of strong fish stock, bring to the boil, take from the fire, and add the yolks of 2 eggs beaten with the juice of half a lemon. Strain, add a tablespoonful of butter, and serve. Olive sauce. Prepare according to directions given for Jersey sauce, adding half a dozen chopped olives instead of the Worcestershire. Oyster sauce 1. Prepare a cream sauce according to directions previously given, using the oyster liquor for part of the liquid. Add parboiled oysters cut fine and season with paprika and lemon juice. Oyster sauce 2. Cook 2 dozen oysters in their liquor with a little water, butter, white and red pepper, and grated nutmeg. Thicken with a tablespoonful each of butter and flour cooked together. Take from the fire. Add the yolks of 2 eggs well beaten, the juice of a lemon, and 2 tablespoonfuls of butter. Serve with boiled fish. Parsley sauce 1. Prepare a drawn butter sauce according to directions previously given. Add half a cupful of fine minced parsley and season with lemon juice. Parsley sauce 2. Boil 2 large bunches of parsley in water to cover for 5 minutes. Strain the water and thicken with a tablespoonful each of butter and flour cooked together. Season with salt, pepper, and grated nutmeg. Take from the fire. Add the yolks of 2 eggs beaten with a little vinegar, 3 tablespoonfuls of butter in small bits, and a little minced parsley. Parsley and lemon sauce. Squeeze the juice out of a lemon, remove the seeds, and chop the pulp fine with a bunch of parsley. Add a little of the grated peel. Cook together 1 tablespoonful each of butter and flour. Add the parsley and the lemon and 1 1/2 cupfuls of stock. Season with salt, pepper, and powdered mace, and boil for 10 minutes. Take from the fire. Add the yolks of 2 eggs beaten with a little cold stock, and serve. Persillade sauce. Put into a bowl 1/4 cupful of olive oil with a tablespoonful of made mustard, the juice of 2 lemons, and 2 tablespoonfuls of minced parsley, and salt and pepper to season. Add a few drops of tarragon vinegar. Mix thoroughly and serve. Piquante sauce 1. Cook together a teaspoonful of chopped onion, a pinch of sugar, a few drops of Worcestershire sauce, and 1 tablespoonful each of chopped capers and pickles, with 2 tablespoonfuls of tarragon vinegar, and salt and cayenne to season. Prepare a Spanish sauce and add the mixture to it. Piquante sauce 2. Mix together half a cupful of beef stock, 2 tablespoonfuls of tarragon vinegar, 2 tablespoonfuls of chopped pickle, 1 tablespoonful each of chopped onion, capers, and parsley, a teaspoonful each of sugar and salt and paprika to season. Poor man's sauce. Brown a tablespoonful of flour in butter. Add 2 cupfuls of stock and cook until thick, stirring constantly. Add 2 tablespoonfuls of tomato catsup and 1 of anchovy essence. Strain and serve. Portuguese sauce. Put 6 tablespoonfuls of butter into a saucepan with the yolks of 2 eggs beaten with the juice of half a lemon. Season with salt and pepper and heat thoroughly, but do not boil. Take from the fire, stir until thick, and serve immediately. Poulette sauce. Simmer for 10 minutes a pint of white sauce. seasoning with salt, pepper, and lemon juice. Beat the yolks of 3 eggs light and pour the hot sauce over them slowly. Cook for 2 minutes in a double boiler and serve immediately. Ravigotte sauce. Put 1 cupful of stock into a saucepan with 2 tablespoonfuls of white wine and 3 tablespoonfuls of chopped chives and parsley. Season with salt and pepper and simmer for 20 minutes. Thicken with 1 tablespoonful each of butter and flour cooked together. Take from the fire, add the juice of half a lemon, and serve. Cold Ravigotte sauce. Chop together a tablespoonful each of parsley, chives, chervil, tarragon, and shallot. Add to a stiff mayonnaise and tint green if desired with color paste. Remoulade sauce. Mix 2 tablespoonfuls each of capers and minced anchovies. Add a tablespoonful of minced parsley, a teaspoonful of dry mustard, and salt and pepper to taste. Add 1/2 bean of garlic, chopped very fine, and enough olive oil to make a smooth paste. Add a few drops of vinegar and serve. Royale sauce. Cook together 1/2 cupful of butter and the beaten yolks of 3 eggs until the yolks begin to thicken. Take from the fire and add by degrees 2 tablespoonfuls of tarragon vinegar, 2 tablespoonfuls of Indian soy, 1 finely chopped small pickle, and cayenne and salt to season. Mix thoroughly and cool. Serve cold. Sardine sauce. Add skinned, boned, and mashed sardines to mayonnaise. Beat until smooth and serve with cold fish. Shad roe sauce. Boil, drain, skin, and mash a shad roe. Season with salt, pepper, grated onion, and powdered mace. Add 1/2 cupful of Madeira and 1/2 cupful or more of melted butter. Serve with shad or any other fish. Shrimp sauce. Add 1 cupful of chopped cooked shrimps to each pint of white sauce. Season with lemon juice, paprika, and Tabasco sauce. Sicilian sauce. Slice 4 onions, fry brown and drain carefully. Put into a saucepan with 2 cupfuls of Espagnole sauce, a wineglassful of sherry, and a pinch of cayenne pepper. Reheat, strain, and serve. Spanish sauce. Prepare according to directions given for brown sauce, using 1 cupful of highly seasoned stock for liquid. Supreme sauce. Prepare according to directions given for drawn butter sauce, using chicken stock and a little cream for liquid. Take from the fire and add 2 tablespoonfuls of butter and the juice of half a lemon. Tartar sauce 1. Chop together capers, olives, parsley, and pickles. Add 1/2 cupful of the mixture to a cupful of mayonnaise. Tartar sauce 2. Mix together 1 tablespoonful each of vinegar and Worcestershire sauce. Add a teaspoonful of lemon juice and a pinch of salt. Brown 1/2 cupful of butter and strain into the hot vinegar. Serve hot. Tartar sauce 3. Prepare a cupful of drawn butter sauce and add it to a teaspoonful each of made mustard, grated onion, and chopped pickle. Take from the fire, season with salt and cayenne, add the beaten yolk of an egg, and serve. Tomato sauce 1. Prepare according to directions given for drawn butter sauce, using tomato juice or stewed and strained canned tomatoes for liquid. Tomato sauce 2. Chop together capers, pickles, onion, and olives. There should be 1/2 cupful in all. Add 1/2 cupful of stewed and strained tomatoes, a teaspoonful each of made mustard and sugar, and salt and cayenne to season highly. Serve very hot. Tomato sauce 3. Chop fine an onion and a clove of garlic. Fry in butter and add 1/2 can of stewed and strained tomatoes. Thicken with butter and flour cooked together. Season with salt and pepper and serve. Brown tomato sauce. Fry a tablespoonful of chopped onion in butter. Add 1 tablespoonful of flour and 1/2 cupful each of stock and stewed and strained tomato. Cook until thick, stirring constantly. Season with salt, pepper, and kitchen bouquet. Strain and serve. Veloute sauce. Cook together 3 tablespoonfuls each of butter and flour. Add 1 cupful of white stock and 1/4 cupful of cream. Cook until thick, stirring constantly. Season with salt, cayenne, grated nutmeg, and minced parsley. Simmer for an hour. Strain and serve. Venetienne sauce 1. Cook together for 5 minutes 2 tablespoonfuls of tarragon vinegar, 6 peppercorns, a tablespoonful of chopped ham, 6 parsley roots, a sprig of thyme, and a bay leaf. Strain and add to 1 cupful of veloute sauce. Reheat, add a teaspoonful of minced parsley, and serve. Venetienne sauce 2. Add minced parsley, tarragon vinegar, grated nutmeg, and a tablespoonful of butter to Allemande sauce. Vinaigrette sauce. Mix 4 tablespoonfuls of olive oil with 1 tablespoonful of vinegar. Season with salt and paprika and add it to minced parsley, pickle, and capers. Whipped cream sauce. Mix a teaspoonful of dry mustard with a tablespoonful of vinegar and 2 tablespoonfuls of freshly grated horseradish. Mix with 1/4 cupful of mayonnaise and, when smooth, fold in carefully 1 cupful of whipped cream. Season with salt and red pepper and serve very cold with cold fish. White sauce. Cook together 2 tablespoonfuls each of butter and flour. Add 1 cupful of white stock and 1/2 cupful of cream. Cook until thick, stirring constantly. Season with salt and pepper. 1 1/2 cupfuls of milk may be used instead of the stock and cream. End of section 4.
This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Reading by Robin Cotter, Toronto, Ontario, March 2007. How to Cook Fish by Olive Green. Section 5. 10 Ways to Serve Anchovies. 1. Clean, bone, and trim the fish. Arrange on a dish, alternating with quarters of hard-boiled eggs. Moisten with olive oil, sprinkle with parsley, and serve with toasted crackers. 2. Split the anchovies, wash in white wine, and bone them. Make a paste with the yolks of eggs, equal parts of minced cooked fish, and breadcrumbs. Stuff the anchovies, dip into batter, and fry in deep fat. 3. Pound the fish in a mortar, seasoning with minced parsley, grated onion, and cayenne. Serve on small circles of fried bread as a first course at dinner. 4. Drain a bottle of anchovies and mash fine with enough butter to make a smooth paste. Season with lemon juice and cayenne. Spread on fingers of toast and lay a whole anchovy on each piece. 5. Wash 8 salted anchovies, remove the skin and bones, and soak in clear water for an hour. Drain and wipe dry. Arrange on lettuce leaves with sliced hard-boiled eggs and pour over a French dressing. 6. Toast circles of bread, spread with butter, cover with chopped hard-boiled eggs, make a hollow in the egg, lay an anchovy upon it, and set into a hot oven for 5 minutes. 7. Toast thin circles of graham bread, butter, and cover each piece with anchovies. Sprinkle with lemon juice and paprika, and put into hot oven for 5 minutes. 8. Clean and rinse the fish and dry on a cloth. Butter a small baking dish, put in a layer of cracker crumbs, then a layer of anchovies, then sugar and crumbs. Repeat until the dish is full, having crumbs and butter on top. Beat the yolks of 2 eggs, with half a cupful of cream and a little sugar. Pour over the fish and bake in the oven. 9. Use salted Norwegian anchovies soaked for 2 hours in cold water. Split down the back, bone, and skin, cut into strips, and arrange on a platter. Mince separately parsley, capers, boiled carrots, beets, and the whites and yolks of hard-boiled eggs. Arrange small piles of contrasting colors among the fish and pour over a French dressing. 10. Fry thin circles of bread, put a pimola in the center, and curl an anchovy around it. Fill the remaining space with chopped hard-boiled eggs and serve as a first course at dinner or luncheon. End of section 5.
This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Scott Walter. www.sjwalter.com. How to Cook Fish by Olive Green. Section 6. 45 Ways to Cook Bass. Baked Bass 1. Scale, wash, and clean, leaving the head intact. Make a stuffing of 2 cupfuls of breadcrumbs, 1 cupful of butter, 2 eggs well beaten, and enough cold water to make a smooth paste. Season with pepper, salt, grated lemon, minced parsley, thyme, and marjoram. Split the fish, stuff, and sew up. Lay thin slices of salt pork over the fish and put into a baking pan with a little boiling water seasoned with wine and tomato juice. Bake carefully, basting frequently. The gravy may be thickened and served with the fish. Baked Bass 2. Split the fish and stuff with seasoned mashed potatoes. Put a little boiling water and a tablespoonful of butter into the baking pan and baste frequently while cooking. Baked Bass 3. Rub the inside of the fish with salt. Sprinkle the outside with pepper and salt. Cover with sliced onion and salt pork. Dredge with flour and put into the baking pan with sufficient boiling water to keep from burning. Baste frequently while cooking. Remove the pork and onion. Thicken the sauce with a tablespoonful each of butter and flour, blended and mixed with a little tomato ketchup. Pour the hot sauce over the fish and serve. Baked Bass 4. Make a stuffing of 1 cupful of breadcrumbs, 1 teaspoonful each of melted butter, Worcester sauce, tomato ketchup, minced parsley, minced onion, minced olives or pickles, lemon juice, salt, black pepper, and paprika to taste, and sufficient cold water to moisten. Sew up the fish and bake as usual. Serve with tartar sauce. Baked Bass with white wine. Put a bass into a baking dish with salt, pepper, and mushroom liquor to season, and enough white wine to moisten. Cover with buttered paper and bake for 15 minutes. Melt 2 tablespoonfuls of butter. Add 3 tablespoonfuls of flour and cook thoroughly. Add 2 cupfuls of white stock and cook until thick, stirring constantly. Take from the fire and add the yolks of 3 eggs beaten with a little cold water and the juice of half a lemon. Add a tablespoonful of butter and the juice in the baking pan. Pour over the bass and serve. Baked Bass with shrimp sauce. Marinate the clean fish for an hour in oil and vinegar. Put into a baking pan with slices of salt pork underneath and on top and sufficient boiling water to keep from burning. Add a teaspoonful of butter to the water and baste 2 or 3 times during the hour of baking. Strain the gravy and set aside. Melt 1 tablespoonful of butter, add 1 tablespoonful of flour, and cook until brown. Add 1 cupful of the liquid left in the baking pan, making up the required quantity with boiling water, if necessary. Cook until thick, stirring constantly. Season with cayenne and lemon juice, and add half a can of shrimps chopped fine. Bring to the boil, pour over the fish, and serve. Baked and stuffed black bass. Mix together 1 cupful of breadcrumbs, 2 small onions chopped, 2 eggs well beaten, and cold water to moisten. Season with Worcester, Tabasco, and minced parsley. Stuff a bass with this mixture, rub with melted butter, and bake with a little boiling water, basting as required. Baked bass a la Newport. Clean the fish, gash the top, season with salt and pepper, and cover with thin slices of salt pork. Pour a little boiling water into the pan and bake slowly, basting as required. Serve with the pork. Bacon may be used instead. Baked bass a la Manhattan. Butter a baking dish, put in the cleansed fish, rub with melted butter, season with salt and pepper, and cover with thin slices of bacon and breadcrumbs. Add a little boiling water and bake in a very hot oven, basting as required. Baked bass and tomatoes. Select 1 large bass or 2 small ones. Clean the head and let it remain on the fish. Slice 4 tomatoes and cut in halves. Make a plain bread dressing. Open the fish, rub the inside lightly with salt and soft butter. Lay a thick layer of tomatoes in, then a layer of the bread dressing, alternating them until the fish is well stuffed, then bind with a tape. Lard the fish with strips of salt pork. Lay in a baking pan, add 1 cupful of hot water and 1 tablespoonful of butter, and bake, basting often. In 15 minutes, take the pan out of the oven and spread the fish with a layer of thinly sliced tomatoes, seasoned with a sprinkling of salt, some melted butter, and a light sprinkling of grated cheese. Bake until the tomatoes are done, then carefully remove it to a platter, taking off the tape first. Garnish with parsley and serve. Baked bass a la Babette. Clean the fish, salt it well, and put into a baking pan with a cupful of water. Put lumps of butter on top, and season with salt, pepper, and minced parsley. Bake for an hour, basting often. Add a wineglassful of sherry and a little catsup to the sauce remaining in the pan. Thicken with a teaspoonful of flour, rubbed smooth with a little cold water. Baked fillets of bass. Cut bass into small fillets, sprinkle with salt and pepper, put into a shallow pan. Cover with buttered paper and bake for 12 minutes in a hot oven. Serve with a border of boiled rice and hollandaise sauce. Baked bass a la Montmorency. Clean, skin, and bone a bass and cut into pieces. Butter a baking dish, put in the fish, season with salt, pepper, and white wine. Cover with buttered paper and set in the oven until the fish is partly cooked. Take out the fish and arrange in a baking pan. Add to the remaining liquor a chopped onion, half a dozen mushrooms, and 2 sprigs of parsley finely chopped. Add a little stock and thicken with a teaspoonful of flour rubbed smooth in a little cold water. Pour this sauce over the fish, lay a large mushroom on each piece, cover with crumbs, dot with butter, and bake in the oven. Sprinkle with lemon juice before serving. Stuffed sea bass. Clean the fish and cover it with a marinade of olive oil and vinegar. Soak for an hour. Fill the fish with chopped salt pork and mushrooms. Put into a baking pan with slices of salt pork underneath and on top, and sufficient boiling water. Bake for 40 minutes. Cover with slices of tomatoes and half a sweet green pepper chopped fine. Dot with butter and bake for 20 minutes more. Take up the fish and rub the sauce through a colander. Stir in a tablespoonful of butter rolled in flour. Add 1 teaspoonful of sugar and 2 teaspoonfuls of grated onion. Dilute with boiling water if too thick. Bring to the boil, pour over the fish, and serve. Bass a la Bordelaise. Split a large sea bass. Put into a baking dish with a wineglassful of claret and salt and pepper to season. Sprinkle with chopped shallot, cover with buttered paper, and cook in a moderate oven for 15 minutes. Lay the bass on a platter, put the juice in a saucepan with half a teaspoonful of beef extract, 4 chopped mushrooms, and a bruised bean of garlic. Thicken with flour browned in butter, bring to the boil, pour over the fish, and serve very hot. Boiled bass. Clean the fish, put it into warm salted water, and simmer for 20 minutes. Boiled sea bass with egg sauce. Boil the fish according to directions previously given. Melt 1 tablespoonful of butter, add 2 tablespoonfuls of flour, and cook thoroughly. Add 2 cupfuls of the water in which the fish was boiled, and cook until thick, stirring constantly. Season with salt, pepper, minced parsley, and lemon juice. Add 3 hard-boiled eggs, coarsely chopped. Pour over the fish, and serve. Boiled bass with mushrooms. Boil a bass in water to cover, adding to the water 4 tablespoonfuls of vinegar, 6 peppercorns, and a little salt. Melt 1 tablespoonful of butter, add 1 tablespoon of flour, and cook thoroughly. Add 1 cupful or more of boiling water, and cook until thick, stirring constantly. Add the juice of half a lemon, half a can of mushrooms chopped fine, and pepper and salt and minced parsley to season. Bring to the boil, pour over the fish, and serve. Boiled black bass with cream sauce. Clean the bass and sew it up in coarse cheesecloth. Boil in enough water to cover, adding half a cupful of vinegar, a sliced onion, 6 or 8 whole peppers, a blade of mace, and salt to season. Take up the fish and reduce the liquid by rapid boiling. Strain and set aside. Melt 1 tablespoonful of butter, add 1 tablespoonful of flour, and cook thoroughly. Add a cupful of the strained liquid and cook until thick, stirring constantly. Season to taste, add half a cupful of cream, bring to the boil, pour over the fish, and garnish with sliced lemons. Black sea bass à la poulette. Prepare a poulette sauce and pour over the black sea bass boiled according to directions previously given. Cold bass with tartar sauce. Boil the fish in court bouillon and drain. Chop fine parsley, pickles, olives, and capers. Mix with a stiff mayonnaise and spread over the fish. Serve with a border of sliced cucumbers. Broiled bass. Clean the fish, split it, and cut each half into 2 or 3 pieces. Dip in oil or melted butter, sprinkle with flour, and broil carefully. Broiled black bass. Clean and split the fish, remove the bone, rub with melted butter or oil, and broil carefully. Pour over a little melted butter, and garnish with lemon and parsley. Bass stewed with tomatoes. Clean the fish, remove the bones, and cut into square pieces. Fry 2 sliced onions in olive oil. Lay the fish upon it, season with salt and pepper, and pour over a can of tomatoes which have been rubbed through a sieve. Season with salt and pepper, cover closely, and cook for an hour. Serve in the same dish. Fried bass with bacon. Clean and cut up the fish, season with pepper and salt, roll in flour, and fry in hot lard. Serve with rashers of bacon fried separately. Garnish with parsley and lemon. Fried black bass. Scale, clean, and cut up the fish. Season with salt and pepper, dredge with flour, and fry in deep fat. Breaded fillet of bass. Clean the fish and cut into convenient pieces. Season with salt and pepper, dip in beaten egg, then in crumbs, and fry in deep fat. Serve very hot with tartar sauce. Breaded bass with bacon. Clean the fish and cut into pieces. Season with pepper and salt, roll in flour, then in beaten egg, then in breadcrumbs. Fry in deep fat and serve with a border of rashers of bacon fried separately. Garnish with parsley. Broiled sea bass with parsley sauce. Put 2 medium-sized cleaned sea bass into a fish kettle with a bunch of parsley. Cover with salted and acidulated water, bring to the boil. Simmer for half an hour, drain, garnish with lemon and parsley, and serve with a parsley sauce. Fried sea bass with tartar sauce. Clean and wipe small sea bass, score the sides deeply, dip in milk, roll in flour, fry in deep fat, drain, sprinkle with salt, and garnish with quartered lemons and fried parsley. Serve with tartar sauce. Matelote of sea bass. Clean 3 pounds of sea bass and cut in convenient pieces for serving. Put into a saucepan with a bunch of parsley, salt and pepper to season, and a teaspoonful of sweet herbs. Add 2 onions sliced and 2 cloves of garlic. Cover with equal parts of stock and claret, and simmer slowly until the fish is done. Move the fish carefully to a serving dish, and strain the liquid into another saucepan. Brown 2 tablespoonfuls of flour in as much butter as is required to make a smooth paste. Add the liquid and cook until thick, stirring constantly. Add to the sauce 3 tablespoonfuls of essence of anchovy and some mushrooms and small button onions fried brown in butter. Pour over the fish and serve. Broiled sea bass. Select a large fish, clean and split. Season with salt and pepper. Rub with olive oil and broil carefully. Serve with maître d'hôtel sauce and garnish with lemon and parsley. Sea bass a la Buena Vista. Prepare and clean a large sea bass. Cut a long, deep incision lengthwise on each side. Place in a buttered baking dish with a chopped onion, a bunch of parsley, a pinch of sweet herbs, half a can of tomatoes, and a small green pepper shredded. Sprinkle with salt and pepper, add 2 cupfuls of stock and 1 cupful of port wine. Dot with butter and bake in a moderate oven for 40 minutes, basting freely. Take up the fish and strain the sauce. Melt a tablespoonful of butter, brown in it a tablespoonful of flour, add 2 cupfuls of well-seasoned beef stock, and cook until thick, stirring constantly. Combine these 2 sauces, cover the fish with broiled tomatoes, pour the sauce over, sprinkle with parsley and lemon juice, and serve. Boiled sea bass with melted butter sauce. Boil the fish in acidulated water according to directions previously given. Drain, garnish with parsley, and serve with a sauce made by melting half a cupful of butter with the juice of a lemon and seasoning with white pepper and a little grated nutmeg. Sea bass a la Francais. Clean and trim 2 large sea bass. Put into a saucepan with salt and pepper to season, 3 tablespoonfuls of butter, 2 large onions sliced, a bunch of parsley, and enough claret to cover the fish. Simmer for 40 minutes, drain, and place on a serving dish. Take out the parsley and keep the liquid warm. Brown 2 tablespoonfuls of flour in 2 tablespoonfuls of butter, add the onions and liquid and cook until thick, stirring constantly. Add stock or water if there is not enough liquid. Add a tablespoonful each of melted butter and minced parsley, pour over the fish, and serve. Sea bass with black butter. Boil medium-sized sea bass in salted and acidulated water, drain, and marinate with salt, pepper, and vinegar. Brown a cupful of butter in a saucepan, skim, pour the top part over the fish, leaving the sediment in the pan. Garnish with fried parsley, and serve. Striped bass with shad roe. Clean a 4-pound striped bass and soak the soft roes of 4 shad in cold water. Put the bass into a fish kettle with an onion, salt and pepper to season, a small bunch of parsley, a tablespoonful of butter, 2 wineglassfuls of white wine, and enough white stock to cover. Cover, cook for half an hour or more, basting as required, and drain. Strain the liquid and add it to a tablespoonful each of butter and flour cooked together. Cook until it thickens, stirring constantly. Add the juice of a lemon and 2 tablespoonfuls of butter. Cook the roes for 5 minutes in salted and acidulated water, drain, cut in 2, and arrange around the fish. Pour the sauce over, sprinkle with minced parsley, and serve. Fillets of striped bass a la Bordelaise. Clean 2 striped bass and cut into fillets. Cover the trimmings with water, add 1 cupful of white wine, 2 cupfuls of white stock, a sliced onion, a bay leaf, a sprig of thyme, a tablespoonful of butter, and salt and pepper to season. Skin the fillets, season with salt, and marinate for half an hour in oil and lemon juice. Drain, sprinkle with flour, dip in egg yolks beaten smooth with a little melted butter, then in crumbs. Broil carefully, basting with melted butter as required. Fry a tablespoonful of chopped onion in 2 tablespoonfuls of flour and cook to a smooth paste. Add the liquid strained from the fish trimmings and cook until thick, stirring constantly. Add half a cupful of stewed and strained tomato, a tablespoonful of minced parsley, and 2 tablespoonfuls of butter. Season with red pepper and lemon juice, pour over the fish, and serve. Fillets of striped bass a la Manhattan. Clean and trim a 4-pound bass, skin, remove the bones, and chop very fine. Add 4 tablespoonfuls of butter, season with salt, pepper, and grated nutmeg, and enough cream to make a stiff paste. Shape into cutlets, dip in egg and crumbs, and fry in deep fat or sauté in clarified butter. Drain and serve with tomato sauce. Striped bass with caper sauce. Clean and trim a large striped bass. Cut 2 incisions across the back, tie in a circle, and boil slowly in salted and acidulated water for 40 minutes. Drain, pour over a caper sauce, garnish with parsley, and serve. Striped bass à la Dauphine. Clean and trim a striped bass. Put into a fish kettle with salt, pepper, a bunch of parsley, a pinch of sweet herbs, a sliced onion, 2 cupfuls of white wine, 2 cupfuls of water, and 4 tablespoonfuls of butter. Cook for 40 minutes in a moderate oven, basting frequently. Drain the fish, strain the liquor, and add enough white stock or oyster liquor to make the required quantity of sauce. Cook 2 tablespoonfuls of flour in 1 tablespoonful of butter, add the liquid, and cook until thick, stirring constantly. Add 3 egg yolks well beaten with 4 tablespoonfuls of butter, a tablespoonful of anchovy essence, the juice of half a lemon, and a pinch of paprika. Bring to the boiling point, pour over the fish, and serve. Garnish with fried mushrooms. Striped bass à la Cardinal. Clean and trim a striped bass. Cook in a fish kettle with 2 cupfuls of water, 1 cupful of white wine, 4 tablespoonfuls of butter, a bunch of parsley, an onion, a carrot sliced, and salt and pepper to season. Simmer for 40 minutes and drain. Add 2 cupfuls of white stock to the liquid, strain, and skim off the fat. Cook 2 tablespoonfuls of flour in a tablespoonful of butter. Add the strained liquid and cook until thick, stirring constantly. Take from the fire and add the yolks of 4 eggs beaten with the juice of a lemon, 4 tablespoonfuls of melted butter, and a pinch of paprika. Bring to the boil, then take from the fire, add sufficient dried and pounded lobster coral to color, pour over the fish, and serve. Striped bass à la Hollandaise. Clean and trim a striped bass and simmer half an hour in salted and acidulated water to cover. Drain, garnish with parsley, and serve with Hollandaise sauce. Striped bass à la Commodore. Clean and stuff a striped bass. Put into a fish kettle with a bunch of parsley, a cupful of mixed vegetables cut fine, a cupful of white wine, a cupful of oyster liquor, and enough water or stock to cover. Simmer for 40 minutes and drain. Strain the gravy, skim off the fat, and set aside. Brown 2 tablespoonfuls of flour in 1 tablespoonful of butter, add 1 cupful of stock, and cook until very thick, stirring constantly. Add the strained sauce and reheat, stirring until smooth. Add a tablespoonful of anchovy essence, 4 tablespoonfuls of butter, and lemon juice to taste. Pour over the fish and serve. Striped bass à l'américaine. Cook together 1 tablespoonful each of butter and flour. Add a pint of oysters with their liquor and the yolks of 2 eggs well beaten. Cook until thick, stirring constantly. Prepare and trim a striped bass. Fill with the oyster mixture, season, and sew up. Put into a fish kettle with enough white wine and water in equal parts to cover. Add a sliced onion, a bunch of parsley, a little salt and pepper, and a tablespoonful of butter. Simmer for an hour and drain. Strain the gravy and skim off the fat. Cook together 2 tablespoonfuls of flour and 1 of butter. Add the strained liquid and cook until thick, stirring constantly. Take from the fire, add the yolks of 4 eggs beaten with 4 tablespoonfuls of melted butter, the juice of a lemon, and a tablespoonful of minced parsley. Bring to the boil, pour over the fish, and serve. Garnish with fried oysters. Striped bass à la Marseille. Clean a large striped bass and divide into fillets. Put into a fish boiler with 3 tablespoonfuls of butter, 2 large onions sliced, a bunch of parsley, a bay leaf, salt and pepper to season, and red wine and water in equal parts to cover. Simmer for an hour, drain the fish, take out the parsley, strain the liquid, and spread the cooked onions over the fish. Cook 3 tablespoonfuls of flour in 2 tablespoonfuls of butter, add the strained liquid and cook until thick, stirring constantly. Take from the fire, add the juice of a small lemon, a tablespoonful of anchovy essence, and 2 tablespoonfuls of butter. When the butter is melted, pour over the fish and serve. Striped Bass a la Conti. Clean and trim a large striped bass. Put into a baking pan with 4 tablespoonfuls of olive oil, a small onion chopped fine, salt and pepper to season, a bunch of parsley, and 2 cupfuls each of white wine and white stock. Cover and cook for an hour in a moderate oven, basting often. Drain the fish and remove the parsley. Strain the sauce. Brown 2 tablespoonfuls of flour in 1 of butter, add the strained liquid and cook until thick, stirring constantly. Add the juice of half a lemon and a tablespoonful of minced parsley. Pour over the fish and serve. End of section 6.
Section 7 of How to Cook Fish. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, visit LibriVox.org. How to Cook Fish by Olive Green. Section 7. 8 ways to cook blackfish. Blackfish à la Américaine. Draw 2 large blackfish, trim and clean thoroughly. Put into a baking dish with 2 chopped onions, fried in butter. Add 2 cups of cold water and a half a cupful of port wine. Season with salt and pepper, a pinch of powdered cloves, mace, allspice and thyme, 2 bay leaves, a small bunch of parsley, and 2 leeks. Cover tightly and cook for an hour. Lift out the fish and strain the liquid. Thicken it with a tablespoonful of butter, blended with an equal quantity of flour. Bring to the boil, add 2 tablespoonfuls of butter, and minced parsley and lemon juice to season. Pour over the fish and serve. Blackfish with fine herbs. Put the cleaned fish into a baking dish with chopped onions, parsley, and mushrooms. Gash the fish and fill the incisions with butter and chopped onion. Moisten with equal parts of white wine and stock, cover with buttered paper, and cook in a moderate oven for half an hour, basting frequently. Take out the fish, strain the sauce, and add stock to make the necessary quantity. Thicken with a tablespoonful of butter rolled in flour, and pour over the dish. Cover with crumbs, dot with butter, and brown in the oven. Sprinkle with lemon juice before serving. Broiled catfish with chili sauce. Clean the fish, season with salt and pepper, rub with oil, and broil slowly. Fry in butter a cupped shallot and 2 chili peppers. Add 2 chopped tomatoes, a wine glassful of Catawba wine, and a cupful of stock. Boil to the consistency of a thick sauce. Add 2 tablespoonfuls of butter and a little chopped parsley. Spread over the fish. Matelote of blackfish. Cover 4 pounds of cleaned blackfish with equal parts of claret and water. Add salt and pepper to season, 2 small cloves of garlic, 2 onions sliced, and a bunch of parsley. Boil for half an hour and strain the liquid. Thicken it with 2 tablespoonfuls of butter blended with a little flour. Add 2 tablespoonfuls of butter, a tablespoonful of anchovy paste, and lemon juice to season. Strain over the fish and garnish with fresh fired mushrooms and small white onions sprinkled with sugar and fried brown in clarified butter. Stewed blackfish a la Newport. Cook 4 pounds of blackfish in Catawba wine and water to cover, seasoning with parsley and onion, 3 cloves, salt, and half a dozen peppercorns. Boil for half an hour. Strain the sauce and thicken with 2 tablespoonfuls of flour browned in butter. Cook until thick. Add 2 tablespoonfuls of butter and the juice of half a lemon. Strain over the fish and surround with a border of baked tomatoes. Baked blackfish 1. Put 2 cleaned blackfish into a buttered baking pan with 1 cupful of port wine and 2 cupfuls of water. Add salt, white and red pepper, grated nutmeg, minced parsley, and sweet herbs to season. Dot the fish with butter, covered with buttered paper, and bake for 45 minutes, basting as required. Take out the fish, strain the sauce, and put it into a saucepan with 2 cupfuls of stock. Thicken with 2 tablespoonfuls of butter blended with an equal quantity of flour, and boil for 10 minutes. Skim, add 2 tablespoonfuls each of butter and anchovy paste, and lemon juice to taste. Reheat, pour over the fish, and serve. Baked blackfish 2. Remove the skin and fins from a 6-pound fish and place in a baking pan. Cover with 2 cupfuls of breadcrumbs moistened with hot water, and seasoned with butter, salt, pepper, sage, summer savory, and sweet marjoram. Bake for an hour and a half and serve with any preferred sauce. Blackfish with port wine sauce. Put 2 cleaned blackfish into a pan with 1 cupful of port wine, 1 cupful of water, 1 cupful of white stock, and salt, pepper, minced parsley, and sweet herbs to season. Cover and simmer for 40 minutes. Take out the fish, add 2 cupfuls of stock to the sauce, thicken with 1 tablespoonful of butter blended with 2 of flour, and cook until of the proper consistency. Strain through a cloth. Add 2 tablespoonfuls of butter and lemon juice and red pepper to season. Pour over the fish and serve. End of section 7. Read by Dennis Sayers in Modesto, California, for LibriVox, Spring 2007.